Welcome to Yes Also. I'm Suzi Barrett, and my guest today is the one and only Lloyd Ahlquist. Most of you know him as Epic Lloyd from Epic Rap Battles of History, and those of us in the improv world know him as a member of the legendary Chicago and touring show Mission Improbable, and as one of the co-owners of the Westside Comedy Theater in Santa Monica. There is so much good stuff in this episode. There's some helpful practical info in part 1 about starting your own improv touring company, and in part 2, we deep dive about the origin and continuation of Epic Rap Battles of History, live performance techniques, favorite teaching and coaching exercises, what it was like to perform at Elon Musk's house, and a lot more. To access part 2 of this episode, you'll go to yesalso.supercast.com and subscribe. And once you do that, you'll never have to go there again. It will automatically link to your normal podcast player, and you can have this part 2 along with all the other part 2s right in the little pocket that you keep your phone in. If you're in LA, you can go be a part of the jam that Lloyd hosts at the Westside Comedy Theater on Mondays at 10, or you can see Lloyd play with Mission Improbable there on Friday nights at 10. And now, here's Lloyd. Lloyd, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We have a lot of ground to cover.
Yes.
Yes. I think I first saw you perform. Were you in Chicago in like 98?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were in classes at IO with a friend of mine from college. And so I became aware of Mission Improbable because you guys were kind of this like hot entity at the time.
Yeah.
And I was still in college and I would like go to visit and see your shows.
Who was your friend?
Greg Winter.
Oh, yeah. I know Greg
him?
Winter. He lives in LA now. I saw him a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still acting. And
good.
Yeah. But that's like my first awareness of that was, it's so bizarre to think about. That's 27 years ago. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We both look great.
We do.
We look so good.
Look at this.
For having known each other 27 years.
Top 2% of all improvisers I see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But talk to me about, I don't know the origin story of Mission Improbable because when I started seeing you guys, you were like this fully baked thing and you were all so good and you had this like chemistry. Did you all meet before that? Did you meet in classes?
Yeah.
What was your thing?
No, we all met in college and we all left college and moved to Chicago together.
Oh, cool.
So I was a gymnast in college.
No shit.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
UMass, Amherst. And so Mission Improbable was like a tiny little entity there when I first started. But then when like my best friend and like business partner forever, Aaron Krebs, you probably know him.
Yeah.
He got to UMass and sort of made Mission Improbable a weekly thing. And then there were 6 of us in that group who really clicked. There was like a bigger group of people, but Aaron came in and he was like every Friday night at 10, we had a show. It was always 250 people. It was packed and it was like a bug. And like
doing short form, yeah.
Doing short form, but we would do little bits and little sketches and it was like just well produced. There was like music behind everything and
so he was always a bit of a CEO, entrepreneur.
Yeah. And he had been in Dallas where there was like a short form theater there that he was involved in. So he had a lot of like real life experience. And I was like an athlete who like was always kind of funny. And it's funny, I was listening to the episode with Ryan Archambault. It was like very similar. Like he was a football player. I was a gymnast. I got hurt. I auditioned for the improv group on crutches, which is funny.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So then we put together an improv festival called the New England College Improv Jam, which is still kind of running today. And it was like all the colleges in New England, they would all come and do like improv and stuff. And we hired the IO Roadshow, the Improv Olympic Roadshow. And so like Liz Allen, Paul Grandi, Pat Shea, I can't even remember all the people, but came
the
out.
all-stars of that time, like all the teachers and Herald coaches and great Herald performers. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did a long form set and it was awesome. But then Liz taught this workshop and it just like blew my mind open. Like she did this thing where like she put us in a circle and she walked behind us and she touched like the base of our spine. It was like, this is where you're connected. And I was just like in.
Yeah.
And so at the end of that year, our core of 6, 3 of them were graduating and 3 of us were going to stay. And I was like, fuck this. And like, I convinced Aaron, I was like, we got to move to Chicago. He's like, you're still in college. I'm like, I'll drop out. I don't care. And then we asked each of the 6 of us, and like 3 of us dropped out and 3 of them were graduating, and we were like, we're going. So we packed up a U-Haul that summer, and then we worked with Liz, and then we got to Chicago and we were just already a team. And we were like, I think one of the first teams that like Sharna was cool enough to she just made us a team. Like we were like, hey, we have to take classes, you know, so we all took different classes and we all lived in the same apartment. We all had the same, there was like 6 of us in one big house.
This is so awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was like they called us the boy band of improv, which I'm fine with. I'm fine at this point.
I went to a party at that house.
Yes.
I'm remembering now.
1615 West Byron.
At least one of you was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Does that sound right?
We had a Pimps and Hoes party. We had a Hawaiian party.
Okay.
We had like keggers.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
It felt to me like just a classic college party. It was like Animal House, but comedy nerds.
I mean, that
heaven.
Was, and it was kind of like, you know, I feel like a lot of improv energy is kind of like a little bit quieter and maybe more bookish or nerdy or whatever, and that was never really our vibe. Our vibe was always friendly, but like, let's go. So I remember like late at night, it would be like, hey, this is my chance to talk to Bob Dassey, who just happens to be over here in this corner at my house.
Yeah.
I think this guy's a god. Hey, Bob. Like, pro tip.
Let's talk gymnastics.
I know. I talked with Bob about saxophone because he always played saxophone. I played saxophone. But yeah, then we became a team, and then...
And you were doing Heralds at IO.
We were doing Heralds. We worked with Liz, and she was like our guru. Liz was our guru. And we did like 2 rehearsals a week, 2 shows a week usually, all in the house. And then we started doing Heralds, and then very quickly we started to do like outside shows. Like we went back to college, and then we did a friend of mine who worked with me at a restaurant was from Orlando, and she was involved in the Orlando Fringe. And it was like the Edinburgh Fringe, but like just in Orlando. But it was a really good hotbed there. It was a good one. Some fringes are weird.
Yeah.
But it was a good one.
Real hit or miss genre.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them really put the fringe in fringe.
Yes.
And then some are like full of the best shit you've ever seen. Yeah.
This was a good one. And there was like a good, like SAC Improv Theater was down there. So there was a bunch of cool improvisers. So we put together the idea of, like in college, we did Mission Improvable, but it was just a name. But when we went to Fringe, we were like, let's make this like more produced. So we made like we all wore uniforms, and we had envelopes, and we put the envelopes underneath the tables, and everybody had an agent name, and you would like draw audiences would be like, I have a mission, and each mission was an improv game. So it was like,
oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And perfect for like Orlando.
Yeah.
And so we really hit it off in Orlando. We're like, went gangbusters. We sold out every day, and we went back for like 7 years in a row. But then it kind of got to that point, and I know I'm talking a lot, but
I have like flags planted that I want to explore more, but keep going. Yeah. I don't want to bust your train of thought.
It got to that point where like all of us were doing tons of shows or working, and it like kind of got to that stress point of like nobody ever auditions for, like Aaron like did Comedy Sports, and we were like, oh, you betrayed us, you know, and it was crazy. But I had to move away for a summer because, you know, my family had some family stuff. But I was like, if we don't start to earn money doing this, we're all going to break up, because we were all good. Some people were not going to do it forever. I never auditioned for Second City. I never auditioned for anything. So while I was gone for the summer, I started like looking around, and like I found this thing called NACA, which was like National Association of College Activities, which was like college campuses.
Sounds like it's definitely run by the CIA.
Yeah, yes, definitely. All future incel people, yeah.
We met at this weird underground silo in Nebraska. No, they scanned our retinas. No, okay, all right.
You'll get a bachelor's. Just hang in there.
Can we? I want to continue the timeline, but I want to take some off ramps really quick.
Let's do it.
When you were working with Liz as your guru, and she's wonderful. I had her as my level 3 teacher at IO in Chicago.
Yeah.
What were takeaways from that time or things that she imparted to you that really stuck to your brain and changed the way you saw things?
She was like the perfect like den mother for like 6 dudes, which is like on par for most improv groups. But like she was we all really looked up to her. So she made us like A, get along. It was like therapy for us. B, like play from the heart. Like be honest and be truthful and reveal stuff about yourself and don't hide your real self with jokes.
Reveal stuff about you yourself through this character. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah.
Like if you, Lloyd, have opinions about something in life or an experience you've gone through, you can bring that to life on stage in a real way.
Yeah. And group work, like we ended up doing this form called The Trip, which was, I think, one of my favorite things I've ever done, which was just, and it sounds awful to a lot of people, but they'll get it one day when they're good enough. But I just said it. It was just a group game that never stopped. It was just an evolving, like a scene would pop out, but it was just like group games and like, I hate the term organic opening. It's like so redundant, but like, it's like, it was all group. Everybody was in everything. And we really made that work.
Called The Trip. Because it's kind of hallucinates on itself. It's like one thing spirals out and keeps heightening to a point where it kind of breaks through and then becomes something else. And then that kind of is that.
I always think of it like the difference between the way birds fly. Like if you see like a giant like flock of sparrows, it's just this like a Morpheus.
Murmuration, it's called. Yeah.
Is it called a murmuration?
A murmuration. I highly recommend going on YouTube and searching murmuration. It's like the word M-U-R-M-U-R-ation. Endless videos of this phenomenon, and people like put it to music and stuff. It's the best watch you can spend an hour watching.
I am also an animal nerd. Let's talk about animals later.
Okay.
Is it also called a murmuration when fish do it?
I don't think so, but I would love to look that up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
that's amazing.
that you were relating that to your form, The Trip, where it's like everybody's following where the group is going,
and then when it clicks, you turn into a flock of geese, where it's like you're like, oh, what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like a game will emerge or a pattern will emerge or some sort of like. Yeah, like not a sketch, but like a pattern, like a scene, and you'll be like, okay, now we're this flock of geese where it's like I'm in front, you're in second place, this like this, and you take that as far as you can, and then it busts into like a murmuration again. And that was really where I felt like we were clicking the most. We did that at the Chicago Improv Festival on the main stage a couple years, which was like a big deal back then.
At like the Athenaeum and great space.
Yeah, and huge
and we gorgeous theater.
And then so we were doing that with Liz at the same time as we started touring colleges with short form. So we had this sort of double-edged sword, which was like short form accessible to colleges, learning how to perform to any kind of audience, anywhere, cafeteria one morning at 11 a.m. in Nebraska. Next day, you're in front of 2,500 people at Michigan State on the main stage, you know? And then we would come home in Chicago and be at I.O. Downstairs as a Herald team or at the playground.
Yeah.
So
what did that do for you and for your improv?
It just made me a killer.
Yeah.
You know, it made us a killer squad of like, you know, you're on the road, you're in a van, you're sleeping in hotel rooms, you're touring, then you're coming home, you're living in the same house, you're fighting, you're laughing, you're drinking, you're partying, you're like dreaming together. And like, I really think that element, you could have the most talented squad. And if there's not that like shared experience buy-in, your improv is never going to get to that like exceptional level. It'll be good, but I would take a group of really connected people who are less talented, who like would like jump on grenades for each other. I think that's going to go farther because I think an audience can smell it. Yeah.
Versus super talented siloed performers who are each kind of doing their own thing, but there's not that connective tissue of family between them. The real group mind. The like, when you just reminded me that you guys were all living together during this, that I had forgotten that immediately. And then the reality of that really plunged into my brain. Like, oh God, you just kind of never had a break from each other. Like this was like you're on the road, and then when you return home, you're all in the house doing your road laundry together, and you all have a show that night, and then you have rehearsal the next day, and no shit, you were fighting.
Yeah.
Bunch of 22-year-old boys, never spending a second apart.
Yeah, but it was a family, you know, like I'll never forget it, not to bring the mood down, but like my mom passed away when I was 22 and I was in Minneapolis, and I flew home because she was living in Georgia. And like we were on the road, and then I'm down in Georgia, like, you know, like, what am I doing? You know, trying to figure out this. And then the next day there's a knock on the door, and all 6 of my homies are there at the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Like, I'll die for that. Yeah. That's like, I was just like, and they didn't tell me. They had 7 or 8 shows. They just were like, and like,
oh, it's
you know,
that's incredible.
That's kind of why I'll always do improv because of that, and I'll always try to pass that along to, you know, I don't know if I'll ever have a group as tight as that again, probably not, but like I had that, and if I can help another group be like, look, this is what it is. Yeah, like that, I feel like is like, that's what I have to give. Yeah. And I think that's cool. What
a gift. And for all the people listening to this too, what a great reminder. Yeah. And what is it is the heartbeat at the core of what we do. Yeah. It is that connection and vulnerability shared with friends. To take a completely different off-ramp, I want to dig in more to the missions show, which sounds so fun.
Still do it at the Westside Comedy Theater every Friday at 10 p.m.
Great. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. So what are so it's like classic improv games, but they're written as a mission.
Well, we would do, like, we have a set list, and we don't do this on Fridays anymore just because it got a little bit crazy, but like when in the original, we would have envelopes and we would tape them under like 10 tables. And then at the beginning, and then we would have like a bucket with a bunch of like golf balls painted black so they looked like little bombs. And they would all have numbers on them. And everybody would like reach under, we're like, okay, everybody reach under your table if there's a secret message. And people would have an envelope. We'd be like, oh,
what a thrill.
Yeah. And like I can't say like the copyrighted trademark phrases because we got yelled at. But like, you're like, hold up your hand if you have a mission, if you want us to like do it or not. And like, then, so it would be like, you know, we would set 2 games and then it'd be a mission envelope game. And then we'd set 3 more games and then we'd do mission envelope games.
And the little bombs with the numbers determine which order you're doing the envelopes in?
No, it determines which envelope gets picked. So not everybody who had an envelope would get the envelope picked.
Oh, so that's a second thrill. Because if your bingo number is called and you're like, I'm envelope number 9. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And then they read it out loud. They say like your mission, should you choose to choose to not say it?
And it would have the agents, like Agent Snake Eyes was me, and Agent this and Agent that. And then some of them were like, there was like an assassination mission. Like one was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was like, it was like if you had the assassination mission, you were the audience volunteer. You got pulled up on stage and like you had to do like moving bodies or, you know.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So we still do the Mission Improbable show, and it still tours on the road doing colleges and everything. Yeah. I think it's very different now because it's impossible to have the same kind of crew. But,
excuse me, it's improbable to have the same kind of crew.
Got
him! But it's impossible now because you all have lives, or
I mean, we have like 5 or 6 touring companies now and 5 or 6 different shows. And so Mission Improbable is one of them, and it's like a 2-person improv show at this point. So it's like really nimble. But you know, it's when you're 6 people and you're all like owners of the company, you can like make a show at work. But like when you're a big company and you have department heads now, and you're kind of slicing that pie a lot of different ways. And the college market is so much different now too. Like, we're old, so we probably are a little bit less in touch with them. But also, people don't really go to shows as much, and improv is not as much of a novelty anymore.
Right. It's more ubiquitous, and campuses, like for the most part, all have their own improv teams now, and they didn't always used to.
Yeah, and like, you know, people don't. I never went to like a campus activities board show when I was at college.
Right.
I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
You know, so like, there's challenges there, but like, we've given hundreds of improvisers jobs, and that's like one of the things I'm most proud about. We cast out of Chicago for a long time, then we cast out of here and there, and
wonderful. Let's reverse course and go back to where we were in the timeline. You were saying, you had huge success, and Orlando was great 7 years in a row, and Chicago Improv Fest. And then you realized, like, we got to make money doing this. And that's kind of where we were in your timeline.
Yeah. And so I saw something for NACA, and then I started digging into it of like, there was a couple theaters that would do NACA shows, but it was more like an IO Turco would get assembled, but there wasn't like a band like that. And we were kind of a band at that point. So we put together like a VHS sizzle reel and like a bunch of press kits, and we sent them out. And there's this agent in Chicago called Bass Schuler Entertainment, who I think Baby Wants Candy is with too, actually, at this point. But like, it was just perfect timing of like, this agent who's an alien, Scott Bass, who could sell you anything. He had just left with his business partner, Chris Schuler, a different agency. And so they had broken off, and they needed acts, and they were kind of like, you know, it would have been probably pretty difficult to do that. But we submitted to them, they got a hold of it, and it was just like perfect. And we were like one of their first groups on the roster. And then we were young and charismatic. So like, our show started when we arrived on campus, and it ended when we left town. So
What do you mean by that?
Like, the show doesn't stop when the lights go down. The show starts when you walk through the door. It's a different type of performance, you know. But like, if you're the college contact who's a student who brought me here, my show right now is make you feel awesome. Yeah. Not do bits that are uncomfortable or weird, but make you feel awesome, make you look great, do a show that makes you look great for picking us. Yeah. And then when I leave, probably we go to Applebee's, which is like the call to in the Midwest, the fine dining of the Midwest.
Brother, don't I know it. The amount of tour shows that have left me with a blue mouth because I'm ordering whatever the hurricane glass drink is. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, that is so important. I remember when I worked at Boom, we had in our contract, it was required that we had what they called schmooze time. Yeah, where like you had to schmooze with clients after corporate shows, because they were like, this is like a big deal to them that you came here, and they want to have a beer with you and talk about the show or talk about their business or whatever. So yeah, there's like a bit of it's like you could see it as political, but it's also like, yeah, but it's fun too. It's fun to like do a show that people enjoy, and then like chat with them and hang out with them and hear about their thing. And yeah,
and I think it's like networking, and it's also it's just good business. Yeah, it's like show business, you know.
Yeah. Continue this trail for me, because I sort of lost touch with you guys after Chicago, and then my next awareness of you was you guys were opening the Westside Comedy Theater in LA. Yeah. Are we there in the timeline, or what connects those time periods?
In Chicago, doing tours and stuff. Everybody's touring a ton, and
this Bass Schuler is like booking you at colleges.
Yeah, we're doing 60. I'm on the road for 3 months at a time.
Wild.
You know, and then coming home and doing, we're doing 200 shows a year at that point.
Making a living doing it?
Yeah.
Congrats. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Started bringing Sean Monahan is a guy who came in really early, Sean Casey, and then we eventually had 2 crews. But at one point in time, a couple of the guys, like Aaron was always pretty clear he was going to be in LA. He's from Dallas. Kind of, LA might as well have been Mars to me. Like it was I moved like 30, 40 times in my life, but like LA was not a real place. I thought maybe New York. I was an East Coast kid, but like he was always he's going to go there. Jason Schomer was another guy who went here early. So as people started to like peel off, and we would then, 2 guys would be living in LA, we'd meet and then tour for 2 weeks, and then they'd go there, we'd come back. But it was like, I was in Chicago, like I'm not going to do Second City. I'm not going to start auditioning for that route. SNL, I don't want to be in SNL. I want to host SNL. That was always my thing. So I just decided like, and I had met Josie, who's my wife now. I met her. She was a college student. I was 24 and she was 21, so everything's cool.
Everything's
Everybody relax.
legal, okay?
Relax. There's a law now in the Mission Improbable bylaws that's like, if you have any relationship with a student, you must marry them. Stay married. But so yeah, 2005, we decided we're gonna pitch. They were like looking for young sketch type shows in LA, like for like MTV and stuff, something to compete with like something kind of jackassy, something sort of like Whitest Kids You Know type of vibe. And so we were like, we're going to shoot us. It's going to be like a sketch show that with this group of guys who's like really good friends, and it'll be like us traveling. But we were, we shot this thing called Speed Bag, which was like a really funny, like white boy sketch show pretty much. And it took us a long time to shoot it and edit it. And while we were here doing that, I started kind of like digging into IO West and starting performing and stuff. And then I think we went all the way up the chain at MTV, and it was like between us and I think Human Giant is what got picked. Or at least that's what the management told us or whatever, which was fine with me because I thought that was a great show.
Great show.
But that's
to
how I got
this
here.
day, they have one of my favorite sketches, which is the hardest part about being a professional rollerblader is telling your parents you're gay. Made me laugh so hard. Yeah.
So great.
So that's a real welcome to LA, which is you work your ass off on developing this thing to pitch, and you climb so close and you can smell the deal, and then it evaporates and you got to start over. And
it was like, you're like, what do I do with this thing that do I pitch it around or whatever? And like the heat goes off you. And like I never really liked LA as a city, as like an East Coast kid, so I was like, but it was fun to make. When I look back on it, it was funny. Like that at least is satisfying to me. It was funny.
You made something you were proud of.
Yeah.
The time is not wasted. Like you had a good time doing it. You're proud of what the result was.
Yeah.
And a valuable experience, like to at least see what pitching and development is like. Yeah.
There's still sketches in there that I think are hilarious. We did this sketch called The Floor, which was like an exercise routine. Like, you want to lose weight? Use the exercise machine called The Floor. It's just like,
that's great.
You know?
Get down on it and then get up. Do stuff.
You can take it with you.
Right. Did you know they have floors everywhere?
Yeah. You can do this at home. At the apartment where you are right now,
in a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other sketches that stand out that you love from that?
We did a cribs bit, which was like, hey, look at my crib, whatever. And then when the black light went off, it was just like dripping with like the grossest. It was like that kind of. It was like a shock comedy kind of a little bit. We did this bit where everybody shaved their balls and then they pasted it on my face without me knowing it, and they like that was like the Jackass kind of vibe of it. We did a cigarette relay race, which was really funny.
What's that? Like,
I take a puff of a cigarette, run to first base, pass it to you, so we have to try to get all the way around smoking this.
To be young.
It was funny.
Worth it. Worth the month that you took off of your life.
Exactly.
So then, what was the process post that? And the dust clears and you're like, why am I in LA? Why did you stay?
I stayed. Well, Josie moved here with me, so that was
so it's her fault.
Yeah, I blame Josie.
And let's be clear, I love LA. I'm just trying to tuck into because you said you never really liked it.
I love the people here. I love our theater here. I love surfing. I love the ocean. I love, I think it's not that I don't like LA, it's that I miss other things.
Yeah.
I miss seasons. I miss like quiet woods that's green and not like dusty and more like dry. And I miss like rivers that are surrounded by earth. and not pavement. So I think that's also just the point where I am in my life. But when I came here originally, I was just kind of culture shocked by like the vastness of the industry here and like how you can get swallowed up in it. But I think like the saving grace was IO West. And I had a restaurant job for 2 years. So I never went through this sort of like squeeze of like, I don't have any money. I had a job in Chicago at this restaurant that was like Hillstone. And I was able to like transfer to Pasadena. At least I had a job there. I didn't like it, but I worked there. And then IO West, Aaron and Shomer had already been there for a couple of years. So Aaron was on a team called Street Hawk with like Dana Powell and Chris Tallman and a bunch of people. And so
you had like a landing pad of friends and a home base and
a dojo. I had a dojo. You know, like that's what I love about improv is that like you can go to any city, anywhere in the world now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can find a dojo and more than likely your people are there. And you can speak the same language and you'll be welcomed there.
Right. That it is a like pillar, a defining pillar of this art form, that people are welcoming and open and non-judgmental. I mean, that is the art form, the practice of open-hearted non-judgment. So of course that translates to the social aspect as well, and the arrival of new people.
Yeah.
So what inspired starting Westside?
Westside was like all these accidents, man. Like not accidents, but like
you peed your pants.
I peed my pants. I had to go.
You pooped your pants.
I pooped my pants. I was coaching at IO. I coached a group called USS Rock and Roll, who I thought were really, really good.
Yeah.
And then I was like working in a restaurant and working at Westside Rentals and I had like 6 jobs, and Josie and I had just bought a condo, and so I was like stressed. And I just was looking for different jobs and different things. And I came across a Craigslist ad for an assistant artistic director at a theater called the Westside Eclectic, which was in Santa Monica at the same location. It was $27,000 a year, 1,000 hours a week. And I went in and I interviewed. It's the only other job. I remember I bought a new shirt for this interview, and the idea was, it was 2009, and the idea was like the internet was just starting to happen. So the owner, this guy named Mark Campbell, who's a great guy, still friends with him, he was like a UCLA business guy who got a business, like got some angel funding together to like make a YouTube, but connect all the improv theaters and like make content and make like the independent comedy network. This is back when like Icebox and like Break TV and all, like YouTube didn't have its claws in anything.
Yeah.
So the position was for someone to sort of help work under Jamie Flam, who runs Dynasty Typewriter now. And we would run the improv side, which had like little classes and shows and stuff, and he would run this other business. I didn't get the job, which was devastating to me.
That shirt caused you to lose your apartment.
Burned my shirt in my apartment. I was so bummed because I've never done an interview before, but I felt really qualified for. I had grown up around IO and even the theater. I knew what I needed to do, and I went to that Westside Eclectic, and I could see that I had. It was a small, young, promising theater, but I knew how it could level up. And they hired this other guy, and I remember being like, Jamie called me. He was nice enough to call me and be like, we didn't go with you, but I thought you did a really good interview. And I don't know, for anybody listening out there, this was a lesson for me. I just said to him, look, thanks so much. If something doesn't work out with whatever, if something else opens up, let me know. I'm down. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, this guy quit.
Whoa, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And you were like, told you so. You picked wrong, motherfuckers.
I did. I said in the interview, I go, you don't need somebody who's good. You need someone who's crazy. And I said, I don't ever stop. I don't ever, because there's no motivator like fear. And like at that point, I was really like, like I grew up really kind of rough a little bit, you know, like and money and losing houses and things, and like that kind of fear was in me, and I was like, I will do whatever it takes. And so I got this job, and then so I was the assistant general manager there and doing our thing, and I put training center together, and I was booking all the classes and stuff. And at that point, it was like my job was just to be a cheerleader for that theater, give it a little bit of street cred, like bring new people in, book the classes. And then very soon after that, like the stock market in 2007 crashed. And people who were broke, I was like, what's a stock market? But the owner had just got married. I think he was trying to have a family, and he was kind of looking down the barrel of like, I got my MBA from UCLA. I can't be running a theater.
Right.
And so we were able to work a deal with him where we used the money from the Mission Improbable touring company to finance the purchase of this theater. So we bought it, and then we rebranded it, and it became the Westside Comedy Theater.
Incredible. Did that feel scary to do, or was it par for the course for you because you've made courageous decisions your whole life, and as you said, it's like very fear motivated?
Yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. It was a dream come true. It was so funny, we would take owners retreats as Mission Improbable, and we like 2 months earlier we were like, what do we want to do? Well, we know we do not want to run a theater. And then this thing just fell in our lap. But we definitely lost some members from that.
Because they didn't want to run a theater.
Yeah, and they didn't want to take the risk of that. And it was like I think the work that everybody, but we gained new people. Like we had some younger, like at that time, Chris Gorbos and Colin Sweeney were like sort of, they were called the C Squad, which was like Gen 3, I think it was them. And their roles just leveled way up. And I mean, Chris runs everything over there. He's like the King Lionhearted over there. So I was a general manager and the artistic director for like the first 2 years. Then that's where Epic Rap Battles happened. It was a freestyle rap show, and then that became Epic Rap Battles of History. And then when that happened, I kind of handed it off to Sean Casey, and then Chris Gorbos was third, and then we got, that kind of just
evolution. Yeah. It once you made the move, the things organically fell into place that supported the move, and old things fell away. But so the guys who left are no longer. You do not like play with them anymore, or do anything.
Honestly, like most of us don't even perform anymore. I'm one of them. Like Chris is a really exceptional stand-up now, and some of us will perform here. I'll perform. I still perform, but like most of us are just like on the work side of it now.
Interesting.
So the performance aspect is not really a problem. We're still friends. We still talk. We still, there's still like connection there, but like none of us really perform together anymore, which is a little bit sad, which is a bummer for me. But
the goal of this podcast is to make my guests super sad.
Guys, look at me.
I want to go to a subscriber question because it dovetails nicely from this. Dreamwave Improv, that's a team in LA, an indie team, asks, what have been your biggest lessons from running and hosting at Westside? I think those maybe are two different branches. Yeah. Hosting is a separate thing than
I host
running.
a jam every Monday at 10. I've hosted it for years. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's the best jam on the planet, I think.
Why is it the best jam?
Because I give a shit. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not because the bar A is not that high, but I just decided I'm going to make this jam the best jam in the world. And
how did you do that? Like, what are the actionable things?
I make everybody pull names for a hat. Everybody gets a 3-person scene that I call after like 2.5 minutes. So no matter what, you're going to get a 3-person scene. There's I co-host it with people. I plug shows. There's music between things. There's lights. I do scenes in the dark. I'll do a scene. I'll make it so that hey, I'll do chair exercises or whatever. Then we do montages at the end. So it's like 2 hours, maybe 90 minutes, and I host it and I just keep it moving. You know what I mean? So many jams I've been to where it's just like, here's 13 people, good luck. And it's just like, we have like sort of not ceremonies, but like if it's somebody's first time on stage, we're like, first scene, first jam, first scene, first jam. And there's like rules with like little gimmicks that have like, what's the word? Not ceremony, but like
a ritual, pattern.
And and stuff like that. I'm still trying to put together the first annual Jammy Awards, which is like the Dell Awards for the Jam.
Yeah.
But
with a trophy with a jam sandwich on it.
Yeah. All the nominees goes in a hat, and then we just pick winners out of the hat. And it's really hilarious.
Cool. Yeah, I know that was like a sidebar, but this question: what have you learned from hosting and from running Westside?
I have learned how impactful this art form is on people, and how impactful having a third place is. You know, like, what could be just a random Monday night for me hosting the Jam could be the night somebody meets their spouse at the theater, or could be the night that people meet the team that they play with that's going to be their Mission Improbable, or it could be somebody's first. I like hosting the Jam because I like to be people's first taste of this on stage if possible, because I feel like I can give them something cool. Like, if that's their first experience with it, it's like, wow, I might not do this forever, but that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I think I've learned from the Jam and from hosting the Jam, I think I've learned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great takeaway. And then anything like in the weeds of like administration or running a theater, has there been any big like lesson or stumbling block that you could turn into advice for someone else who's trying to level up their theater or trying to start something from scratch? Anything to be aware of, or like a red flag or anything?
Make people feel heard, and make sure that you're dealing with people if they have issues, and make people feel welcome. And if they have an issue, make sure you deal with it in the right way. Because I've seen so many theaters fall, and so many people, like, in a fit of anger, say something wrong, or something happens, and it's just really dangerous, and it's not good for anybody.
Right.
And I think, like, don't take your audience for granted. Like, if you're going to a theater, an improv theater, a small independent improv theater specifically, and you're like, why isn't the audience just showing up? And what is this theater? What are they not doing that they should be like? Believe me, they're doing everything that they can to get an audience there and get them for you too. Like, especially in LA, there's so much to see. So, like, as a theater owner, do everything you can to get the audience there for your performers, but, like, do everything you can to motivate them to want to bring people there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing an improv show, and when your 6 friends that show up, that you convinced to show up, come, and the lights don't work, or something happens at the theater, or something backs up, or something weird happens, it's going to affect them. So, like, your role as the theater owner is, like, try to keep your ship running tight if you can, with what you can.
And have good pre-show music.
Always. Always. Pay your ASCAP, because they're going to come knocking.
What's ASCAP?
Oh, really? ASCAP is like the royalties company that, like, if you play music in your club, you pay royalties. So if you're playing Michael Jackson before 90 shows, pretty soon they're going to come knocking on the door, and they're going to want their $500 a year or whatever.
You got to pay that ASCAP.
You got to pay that ASCAP.
Let's transition into epic rap battles.
Okay.
So it started as an improv show. Would you get suggestions as the characters from the audience, or would you come in with the characters?
It was a show that my friend Zach Sherwin and I did called Check 1 2, and it was like it was kind of like Wild and Out, Yeah. It was like a short form freestyle rap show. So we had like 9 or 10 different gimmicks, and one of them was celebrity rap battle, which everybody does now, but I hadn't seen it back then.
We used to do it. We used to do a game at Boom called Celebrity Rap Battle, but we got the suggestions of our characters from the audience. So it'd be like, can I have a literary character? Can I have a historical figure? Can I have a celebrity? And then we would run back to the prop room and prop up really quick, like in 20 seconds or less, while a host came out and freestyled for a minute. And then, they would just like arbitrarily match us up in combos.
Same thing.
Okay, yeah. It's so fun.
It's so fun.
I as a short form game, we only would do it in our Heineken late night show. So it was always like the audience was drunk. It was midnight. The energy was wild, but it's just so fun to just take a big swing on rhymes as these characters and
And I love Boom because the technical there, like there's a piano and the lights and like I love.
And at the
that.
time we had smoke and lasers and
smoke and lasers.
You know what I mean? So the final battle, whatever it is, I know, right? Yeah.
So great.
Okay, so you guys were doing this. It's a freestyle show with certain gimmicks, and one of the gimmicks was a celebrity rap battle. Yeah.
And then at the same time, Pete Shukoff, who's Nice Peter, who's like my partner for rap battles.
He's so talented.
God,
Both of you are. It's ridiculous.
It's really hard. That's a problem with me. It's like I have really talented, genius friends, and I'm just like, every night I'm like, am I any good at this? Or is it just my friends?
Am I riding those coattails, or do I have coattails?
Am I even wearing clothes?
Honey, get in here. Be honest, Josie. Does my coat have tails on it?
Go to bed.
Go to bed, Lloyd.
So he had, the whole history of how YouTube came together is kind of wrapped up in this, because Epic Rap Battles of History is kind of like sophomore class of like OG YouTubers. So Pete had just started working over at this studio called Maker Studios, and he was making little bits and making his channel, and they were funding different channels and stuff. But Pete was on Mission Improbable. I had hired him. He had toured with us forever, not forever, but like out of Chicago and stuff.
He's a Chicago guy.
Yeah, I met him in Chicago, freestyle rapping on a porch, smoking weed and freestyle rapping on a porch, which is what I did pretty much every weekend, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
it's so annoying. There's a sketch somewhere about freestyle rappers who just won't shut up.
Ding dong. Hi, ma'am. May we use your porch? My friends and I would like to freestyle rap.
And then I was like, do you want to come do this show? And he's like, no, but I'll come watch.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And he saw one of the bits and was like, he saw the freestyle rap part, the battle. And he's like, I think that's really cool. I think we should make a YouTube video of that. And I think we should call it Epic Rap Battles of History. And I was like, all right. And like, like I had been in...
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
That's never happened.
Yo, I've been in the YouTube. I've been...
He's so sick, he dismantles the mic.
Bro, clean. That recovery was clean.
That was clean, bro.
And then we made a video out of it. The first one was John Lennon versus Bill O'Reilly, and it was cool. And our director...
Wait, why were those the first two?
Because we asked the audience. We asked the audience in the comments, like, hey, because Pete had been doing stuff on his channel like a little bit and was getting a little bit of traction.
So he already had followers, and he just pulled them. He said randomly, we're going to do a rap battle. Name who you want it between. Okay.
Exactly, yeah. And then at Maker, they were like gathering all kinds of troops. So they paired us with this guy named Dave McCary, who was a director at SNL for a long time.
He made the Good Neighbor sketches with Kyle Mooney. Yeah.
And so he was like our director, and we did the first one. It was cool. It got like a couple 100,000 views, which was like,
that's huge.
Okay, yeah. I remember I had been in YouTube videos and you get it back and you're like, okay, great. But then I did the shoot. We did the rap. We wrote the rap. We recorded the rap. And I had been rapping for a long time. I had always been a rapper kind of a guy, but not funny rapping this much. But then I got that cut of the first episode back. I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. And so my trajectory on YouTube videos was not like a lot of people make YouTube videos for like years and then they grow and grow and grow. The second video we did was Darth Vader versus Adolf Hitler. And
it's so good.
Like that was
the second one you ever made.
Yeah.
Lloyd, that's ridiculous. Yeah. That's absurd.
It was
there's a great line in that one that's like something like, your mom's fucked so many dudes. I don't even know if I'm your father.
So many dudes been with your mom who even knows if I'm your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like back in the day when you would see like where you were for the number video and what country, and it was like number one. I was like, in what state? It was like, no, this is like on the world. And so that was like one of those moments of like, it was very nice. It was really cool. And then the next 8 years were just a blur.
For part 2 of this episode, go to yesalso.supercast.com. If you like this podcast and you want double the content, head over to yesalso.supercast.com and subscribe. You can also help us out for free by subscribing to us on YouTube and talking us up to your improv communities. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer in one of our Q&A episodes, or a topic that you think would make a great bonus episode, put it in a 5-star review. If you're a theater who would like to host us for a live recording and improv show, let us know at yesalsopod@gmail.com. A very special thanks to our producer, Ryan Rosenberg, audio and video editor, Brian Kessler, and Britt Faye, who does our marketing. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. No, we won't, Suzi. That's not how podcasts work. They won't even see us. They will listen to us, so it's actually the opposite of both things you said. Thanks for listening, and you will listen to us next week. Maybe. We don't know.